Listen Real English Lesson with Point of View Story. How to use point of view stories. Point of view is the most powerful lesson to learn and use English grammar automatically. You must learn grammar by listening to real English. The best way is to listen to the same story told in different tenses, points of view, past, perfect, present, future. You listen to this lesson over and over again and pay attention to the tenses used in its different time. Learn to use them to learn grammar automatically. It's powerful. It's simple. It works. You will succeed. You will use correct grammar naturally and automatically.
Hello, welcome to the POV, Point of View mini stories for bad choices. Same story, different time. Let's start the first one with 3 years ago. We'll have to imagine this happened 3 years ago. 3 years ago, David Beckham was a man who wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He wanted to be a famous movie star and a famous soccer player at the same time. So he moved to Hollywood. He hooked up with Tom Cruise. They hit it off immediately. Tom liked David. David liked Tom. Beckham said, "Tom, the bottom line is that I want to be a movie star just like you. Can you help me?" Tom said, "Of course. My gut tells me you will be a big success in Hollywood." So Tom introduced Beckham to a director who was very powerful. The director made a movie with Beckham. But it was a terrible movie. Everybody hated it, and they hated Beckham. The public felt a powerful animosity towards Beckham. They couldn't stand him. They yelled at him and threw things at him. Beckham couldn't deal with the public's animosity. He was a guy who was very sensitive, so he became scared. He felt this was a dire situation. Beckham was so scared he wouldn't leave his house. He kept the windows closed and the doors locked. He became paranoid and wouldn't even leave to play soccer. Finally, his team manager said, "This is a situation which is unacceptable. You're fired." Beckham cried. Oh, he had no job and nobody could stand him. All right, let's change the time a little bit. This time we're going to talk about the story, but that Beckham has always wanted to do these things, okay? So these have been happening for a while. Beckham has always been a man who has wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He has always wanted to be a famous movie star and a famous football player. He has always wanted to move to Hollywood. He has always wanted to hook up with Tom Cruise, and he has hoped they would hit it off immediately. David has always liked Tom Cruise. Tom has always liked David. Well, one day, Beckham said, "Look, Tom, the bottom line is that I want to be a movie star just like you. Can you help me?" Tom said, "Of course. My gut tells me you will be a big success in Hollywood." So Tom introduced Beckham to a director who was very powerful. The director made a movie with Beckham, but it was a terrible movie. Everybody hated it, and they hated Beckham. The public felt a powerful animosity towards Beckham. They couldn't stand him. They yelled at him. They threw things at him. Beckham couldn't deal with the public's animosity. He was a guy who was very sensitive. He has always been a guy who was very sensitive. He felt this was a dire situation. Beckham was so scared he wouldn't leave his house. He kept the windows closed and the doors locked. He became paranoid and wouldn't even leave to play soccer. Finally, his team manager called and said, "This is a situation which is unacceptable. You're fired." Beckham cried. He had no job and nobody could stand him. Okay, you'll notice that I use the perfect, the have been, have gone, that verb tense, when I was talking about things that have always been true or that were true for a while in the past. maybe starting in the past until now, or maybe over some time in the past, a range of time. And then when I talked about specific conversations, specific actions, I used the simple past. All right, don't think about that too much. Listening is how you will improve your grammar, listening and practicing. Why is not a good question about grammar or language. Don't ask why. If you want a PhD, a doctorate in linguistics, you can ask why. If you want to be fluent, if you want to speak English easily and naturally, don't ask why. Okay? Just learn it. Just listen carefully. Just do the lessons. You will improve, I promise. All right, next, let's talk about the future. In fact, maybe this is going to be a true story, right? Let's think, what's going to happen to David Beckham when he comes to Hollywood? He's moving to Los Angeles. That's true. What's going to happen? Let's imagine. This is what I think will happen. So now, the future. Next year, David Beckham is moving to Los Angeles. And he is a man who wants to have his cake and eat it too. I think he will want to be a famous movie star and a famous football player at the same time. That's why he's moving to Hollywood. He's gonna hook up with Tom Cruise. They'll hit it off. David will like Tom. Tom will like David. Beckham will say to Tom, the bottom line is, I want to be a movie star just like you. Can you help me? Tom will say, of course. My gut tells me you are going to be a big success in Hollywood. So Tom will introduce Beckham to a director who will be very powerful. The director will make a movie with Beckham. But it's going to be a terrible movie. Everybody will hate it, and they'll hate Beckham too. The public will feel a powerful animosity towards Beckham. They won't be able to stand him. They'll yell at him and throw things at him. Beckham won't be able to deal with the public's animosity. He's a guy who is very sensitive, so he'll be scared. He'll feel this is a dire situation. Beckham will be so scared he won't leave his house. He'll keep the windows closed and the doors locked. He'll become paranoid, and he won't even leave to play soccer. Finally, his team manager will call and say, this is a situation which is unacceptable. You're fired. Beckham will cry. He'll have no job, and nobody will be able to stand him. All right, did you notice in the future, when we're talking about the future, we say will be able to instead of can, right? Instead of can stand him, I'll say will be able to stand him in the future. And you'll also, in the future, you have to listen very carefully, because in real speech, not textbooks, but real American English, we add ul to the subject, right? Beckham'll do this. Beckham'll do that. Now, in a textbook, you will see Beckham will go to Los Angeles. But we say Beckham'll. The ul gives you the future. Beckham will go to Los Angeles. And in the textbook, you'll see going to. Beckham is going to make a movie. But in real speech, we say gonna. Beckham's gonna. Right? We don't say Beckham is going to. We say Beckham's gonna. Beckham's, apostrophe S, gonna. Beckham's gonna make a movie. Beckham's gonna do this. Beckham's gonna do that. Beckham will go. Beckham will come. So we use is gonna and ul for the future in real speech. That's how we actually say it when we speak. So listen carefully for that. Listen very carefully when you hear those future versions. Now, please go back, listen to each version, pause after the version, tell it yourself. Try to tell it yourself. If you can't, it's okay. Relax, rewind, listen again. Rewind, listen again every day. It's not a race. Just relax. Enjoy it. Okay. See you next time. Welcome to the commentary for bad choices. Bad choices. I actually use this letter, this Dr. Tracy letter, in my class here in San Francisco, and we chatted about this topic a little bit. And what we talked about was the question, why do people make the same bad choices again and again and again? So, for example, at the bottom of the letter, she says, I was married to a cheating man, her first husband, and then she said, I hooked up with another cheating man, and I wonder, is it just my bad choices in men? And, there are a lot of people like this. When I was a social worker, for example, before I became a teacher, I had this kind of client all the time. I'll give you the very strong example. Some women always date men who abuse them, who hurt them, who hit them. And it happens again and again and again. So they date one man, and the man, hits them, and finally they leave this man. And the next guy they date, after a few months, maybe after 6 months or 7 months, he starts to hit them. And then they stay with him for a long time, they break up, and then again, they really not happy, and they finally find another guy. He seems so nice. You meet him, he seems very polite, but guess what happens? 6 months, 7 months later, he also abuses her, hits her. And it was a serious question. That's a very serious situation, obviously. And I would always ask, what's happening here? Why are they choosing the same kind of guy again and again and again? And, of course, we all do this sometimes. I think most of us have something in our life that's not working, right? That never works. There's just some part of our life, and we continue to make the same bad choices again and again and again. My personal example, a small example, is eating sugar. I always eat chocolate and bad stuff. And I know it's bad for me, and I try to stop eating it, but then every night I go and I'll eat some more chocolate. And then I'll say, no, this is bad, I shouldn't do this. And then, maybe I'll try 1 week to be healthy, and I only eat good food, and then finally, I get some chocolate again, or I get something sweet. So this is my own thing. And of course, with me, there's some physical part too. It's a little bit of a sugar addiction. But a lot of us have these kind of behaviors in our life, and it happens a lot in relationships. People choose other people who have a similar problem, and it repeats again and again and again and again. And, it's not always conscious. Sometimes people would get angry at the women, for example, when I was a social worker. Why do these women do this? Why do they always choose these men? And they blame the woman. And of course, it is happening. The woman is doing this. She is choosing these men. But it's usually unconscious. Okay, the woman is not thinking, I want to find a man who hits me. Okay, of course not. They don't want that. But there's something unconscious, possibly something from their childhood, their own parents, some experiences, possibly something else, that they unconsciously are attracted to something about these men. And also these men are attracted to something about them or about these kind of women. And it usually has kind of a deep psychological root. It's not just so simple as, why do they do this? They don't realize they're doing it, or they realize it, but they don't know why it's happening. So it's quite serious, and it really is a very serious problem. And some women do break that. Now, some women will, if they have an abusive boyfriend who hurts them, it's not this kind of situation. Sometimes they have one, and they say, never again, and they never again date someone like that. Because, men who are like this, it's not like in the beginning, they're always very sweet and polite. I worked at a shelter for women who were abused. So this house, we would let the women and the children come and live in the house to escape the men, help them find a job and help them find another place away from the man. And, I got to hear a lot of stories about these men, and I even met some of them. And the thing about there's kind of a cycle with abuse like this. And in the beginning, these men are always very sweet and romantic. In fact, they even more than normal. If you meet them just the first time, hi, how are you? Many times they seem like they're just so great. Wow, they're so nice. They're so romantic. And when the women first date them, these men are like, always saying super nice things and giving them gifts, lots and lots of attention. And then slowly, a little bit later, after they date longer, they start to control a little bit more, right? They don't like the woman's friends, so they try to make the woman get rid of her friends. And then they separate the woman from her family. They want just the woman and him, just them, nobody else. So the woman becomes more isolated, more alone, only with the man. And then finally, after many months, the man might hit her the first time. It doesn't happen in the beginning right away. So these women are not stupid. It's hard to know sometimes. But anyway, there is some kind of dynamic, some kind of psychological thing happening where why do they keep getting with these kind of men? I think more personally we might think about, and maybe you could write about in the forums, think about what kind of problems do you have in your life that keep happening again and again. Somehow you unconsciously are choosing this kind of situation, or you're making it worse. I've mentioned my sugar problem is an example, and it just keeps happening again and again, no matter what I do. And Tomoe yells at me and tells me to stop doing that, right? She's shaking her head, yes. So think about that. Why do you continue to make bad choices sometimes in your life? And what bad choices do you usually make? What parts of your life do you do this? And why do you think this is happening? Now later, I'm going to do a lesson with an article by a man named Bill Ferguson. And he actually has a few articles about this exact topic. And he talks about why people do this. And, even better, he talks about how you can solve this kind of problem, how you can break the cycle, you can break the pattern, and stop making these choices again and again. Very interesting. His name is Bill Ferguson. Do a Google search for him. Bill, B-I-L-L, and Ferguson is his last name. I'm trying to remember how to spell Ferguson. But anyway, this guy was a very interesting guy. He was a divorce lawyer. So he was helping people get divorced. But he didn't like it. He didn't like it because, all the people were just fighting all the time. And he thought that he should try to help people have a better relationship. So he's instead of helping people get divorced and fight, he started trying to help people talk and figure out their problems. So if they did get a divorce, they would be friends. They could have a calm breakup, basically, and they wouldn't hate each other. There wouldn't be all these terrible, angry, nasty, negative emotions. And when he started to do this, it started to work. He was helping a lot of people, so he decided to become a counselor. And I think he was on Oprah's TV show a few times. But anyway, go to his website. His name is Bill Ferguson, B-I-L-L, and his last name is F-E-R-G-U-S-O-N, Bill Ferguson. His website is called Mastery of Life, so it's www.masteryoflife.com. So www.masteryoflife.com. Mastery of Life, 3 words together. Anyways, he's got some interesting articles on there, and I will use some of his articles for a future lesson. All right, so that's all. Go to the forums. Try to write a little bit. Write about this topic. What should this woman do? Write about your own life. What problems do you have in your life that happen again and again? All right, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Please subscribe, like, and share this video for more people. Thank you for watching.